Okay, let's start. Hello, everyone. This is Chuanming Jia from Pengcheng Lab and Peking University. Today, I am presenting you the MPAI AI-based end-to-end video coding project, namely MPAI EEV. So in conventional video coding schemes, this is a very typical hybrid coding structure. It captures the input videos and do the pre-processing from the color space convention for the codecs. And within the codec, we have prediction coding tools, we have transform coding tools with some mode decision selection, and followed by some filtering for reconstruction. So the things that are needed to be transmitted is the bit stream that encoded by the entropy coding. Some additional control parameters are also needed to signal in the bit stream. So that's all about the conventional video coding schemes. However, in the MPAI EEV project, we plan to establish a novel standard using fully neural network models. So the video coding schemes using fully neural network models have two typical schemas. The first one is the frame generation based end-to-end video coding. So it typically uses the neural intracodec plus frame interpolation method to generate the intermediate frames between some keyframes using the neural intracodec. For the second part of the typical schemas, it is called hybrid framework for EEV, which is that this is also a hybrid coding framework, but all of the modules and the coding tools are implemented by the neural networks, and they are optimized together in an overall optimization method. So this is a prediction plus transform-based codec using fully neural networks. In this slide, the two kinds of schemas are depicted, and in the above bottom, the frame-based interpolation-based EEV has several representative works in the literature. So in 2018, the frame interpolation-based method was proposed initially, and with 3 years of development and mailing, novel approaches have been investigated, such as the bidirectional coding and frame generation and the bidirectional frame interpolation. As for the second part, which is the hybrid coding framework using the deep neural networks, several typical models are also presented. The original work of this kind of schema date back to the 2017, which means whose name is DeepCoder. And subsequently, many novel models were investigated and proposed, such as the voxel CNN using the volumetric convolutional models, plus the long short-term memory, LSTM. So in 2019, the DVC, Deep Video Coding model, was proposed, which is a milestone work of this field, and many subsequent work followed this schema. As for the MPAI EEV milestone, we officially kick off this project in 2021, November of 2021. And over 3 months have been passed, and we have achieved significant progress, such as we have made a working draft on the state-of-the-art end-to-end coding solutions, and we have discussed and made decisions on the trial and the investigations for the first coding tools for the MPAI EEV project. And currently, we are discussing the test conditions and discuss the reference model development. Specifically, the working draft on the state-of-the-art solutions of EEV are presented here, and several presenters have shown their literature review and investigations for the literatures that they can find, such as the end-to-end learning for video frame compression with self-attention, and some efficient learned flexible rate video coding schemas, and some other open source version of the deep video coding solutions. So for the details of the coding tools or methodologies that have been discussed within the MPAI EEV project, we can find that the DVC and the DVC Pro solution is the very promising solution that could be used directly for our next step development. Moreover, borrow the domain knowledge from the conventional video coding. We have discussed that the complex motion compensation network, the enhanced in-loop filtering network, and other advanced coding tools such as the optimized models for the predictors, for the transform, for the spatial temporal joint optimization model, all of them could be borrowed and investigated for the MPAI EEV. So that will be our future work. Currently, we have employed the AI-based end-to-end video coding in solution, namely OpenDVC as our basic framework, which is the starting point of our MPAI EEV. So the reference model for EEV is the OpenDVC. It has several particular modules that implemented by the neural networks. The first is the neural motion estimation. It generates the optical flow or the motion field between the reference frame and the to be encoded current frame. Subsequently, the generated optical flow will be used for the motion compensation within fully neural network models. So the input of that module is the generated optical flow and the reference frame borrowed in the decoded frames buffer. Therefore, we can obtain a coarse predicted frame that could be used for the inter-frame prediction. Subsequently, we can subtract the uncompressed frame with the predicted frame to generate the residue, the frame level residue. In the OpenDVC, we employ the frame level image codec to encode such residue and to transmit the residue to the decoder such that the encoder and decoder could be ensured a match and without any information mismatch. So the key point of the optimization is that how to estimate the bit rate that are needed to be transmitted. So within this framework, within the OpenDVC framework, there are two essential parts that are needed to be transmitted from encoder to decoder. The first one is the motion field. The motion field generates from the motion characteristics from the reference frame to the uncompressed frame. So it is needed to be transmitted to guarantee the decoder generate exactly the same with the encoder. The second part is the residue. As we have talked before, the residue ensures that some high frequency information that are needed to be transmitted to recover the original frame that was not captured by the motion compensation prediction. So we have officially get authorized by the author and by the university that the OpenDVC is authorized for the MPAI EEV for the future development of our standard. And more information could be found in the bottom of the slide that the technical point report more details. For our next step, we are going to explore some complex motion compensation network that is plugged into the OpenDVC framework. Therefore, higher interprediction efficiency could be obtained such that better coding performances could be realized. In current stage, we are exploring the attention-based interprediction enhancement for the motion compensation, and the explorative experiment is under construction. Currently, the OpenDVC has some tested performance that have competitive performance with the conventional video codecs. The tested data is the JCTVC sequences, and the performance comparison between the OpenDVC is the X264 and X265. And we can see from the figure that the OpenDVC have competitive or sometimes even higher performance than the original video codecs. This is very encouraging result that the fully neural network based models have potentials to be the next jump of the video coding research. Additionally, we can observe from the figures that the neural network based models could easily outperform the conventional codecs in terms of the MSSSIM metric, which is also widely deployed, widely used perceptual-based metrics. This tells us that the neural network-based codecs has better ability to adapt to the visual quality than the signal level quality. Therefore, in our MPAI EEV research, we would investigate in more experiments and more investigations on the neural codecs for the subjective quality optimization. Regarding the future plan of EEV, so in our MPAI EEV project, we are discussing the details for the collaborative processing. So the first of all is the common test conditions for the MPAI EEV. Another important issue is that the training and the test data that be used for the collaborative processing. This is a very important step for our project development. And we have decided that there is a close collaboration between MPAI EEV and MPAI EVC to share a portion of training data and share exactly the same test data, that the project of MPAI EEV and MPAI EVC could be more closer. And the coding tools we are investigation has been introduced is that we are planning to investigate the motion compensation prediction network using the non-local attention-based networks, such that the higher motion compensation prediction efficiency could be obtained. The final thing is that the reference model development is very important for the explorative experiments, and we have appointed the Haifeng Guo from the Pengcheng Laboratory as the software coordinator to maintain the software and reference model development. And we believe that in the future, the EEV project will show a strong evidence on the neural network-based video coding that will enable the artificial intelligence era could be more intelligent in video coding. Thank you. That's all about the introduction of MPAI EEV project.